لا الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the third session of our Beyond Hajj program. Now, the purpose of these sessions are really we have two objectives. Number one is to prepare you and prepare you well for Hajj. For many of us, this will be once in a lifetime experience, so we want to prepare you well. And the second objective is to make sure that you come back as a better person and you're more connected to Allah Jalla wa Ala without any association with anybody or anything. So these are the two purpose of these sessions, and inshallah, these sessions are open to anyone and everyone, regardless of which package you have booked, regardless of which provider that you have booked with, or which particular guide that will be guiding you. This is open to everyone, and inshallah, as I said, we want to fulfill those two objectives. Now, the way the sessions have been designed is that we have a session in Tuesday and we also have a session in Thursday. So the first one, the beginning of the week, we focus on the spiritual side, on the spirituality side of Hajj, and on Thursdays we want to focus on the logistical side of Hajj. The idea is you get the spiritual aspect and you also get what's happening on the ground. It's the way you are able to balance the two, almost like the ideal and the reality on the ground. The way you're able to balance the two will determine the experience that you will have in Hajj, inshallah. Now, just to set the scene of the Hajj and the process that we've been so far. Now, the booking process can and maybe feel like that we're booking a holiday, which is not a holiday, just the process that we went through. We went onto a website, we did a search, we looked for a package, we configured the room, we booked a transport, and almost like Sky Scanner for those who booked a custom flight, search for flights and booked a flight. It almost like the experience has been what you would have on a booking.com or a Sky Scanner, and it feels like that we are booking a holiday. Hajj is not a holiday. It is a worship. We're going for worship. We're going to be tested because the reward is huge. The reward is Jannah. And the other thing that's going to happen to us while we're worshipping, while we're being tested, is the seeds of transformation is going to be planted in us. Whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, or whether we are kind of expecting it or not, that is the nature of Hajj. It is a transformative journey where the plants, where the seeds are planted in us, and it's up to us how we nurture that, how we nourish that, and how that will flourish in the years to come when we come back. So, why this session matters. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on the spiritual side. I'm going to break down certain realities that will happen during Hajj. Now, this is regardless of whichever package that you have booked on, whether it be shifting, non-shifting, premium, standard. It's regardless of which package that you've booked on, and regardless of who your guide is or which your provider is, there are certain realities that you will experience. Now, what we have is and rightly so, we have certain ideals about Hajj. We have built up certain expectation that we've been given an opportunity, a lifetime opportunity. We've been invited by Allah, and we want to use this as a catalyst for change for us. So we have a plan that we're going to behave in a certain way. We're going to do certain things in a certain way because we've heard stories from people who've gone in the past, and some are good and some have said horror stories. So So we've built up an ideal that we're going to behave in a certain way. We're only going to talk to people in a certain way. I'm going to be in a certain particular zone, that I'm going to come out of my hotel, not talk to anyone, not disturb anyone, and not get disturbed by anyone else, go to the haram, worship, come back, eat certain type of food. You get the idea. An ideal that is really high. And it is good. It's not bad. But the reality on the ground could be something completely different, because you can imagine there are lots of people there. You are going to get pushed. You are going to get shoved. Somebody's going to cut you off. Uh, um, Somebody is going to really, really push you, try and get in front of you, maybe even nudge you. Now, it's all unintentional because they're all trying to do the same thing. They're also probably coming with an ideal. Let me give you a scenario. You go into, maybe you want to exchange some money. You go into one of the shops. You stand in a queue, like we do here in the UK. We like to queue up. We like to think that we're very civilized and we queue up. You've been queuing up for a little while. You're waiting for your turn to get to the counter and exchange your money. Somebody just comes from behind you, completely ignores the fact that there is a queue. He goes into the front. He gives the money to the counter. He exchanges the money, and is about to walk off. You are rightly probably will get angry and probably will be very shocked. But the thing is, the person who is doing that, he's probably thinking, why are you getting upset? What is the problem? The person behind the counter who has exchanged the money, who has seen that there is a queue, also may look at you, bemused, saying, why are you getting upset? Because that is the norm. That is the norm. And that is something that we're not expecting. But that is something that will happen constantly in Hajj. You will experience that. And again, that is a test. It is to test your anger, test your how you will react in that situation, what you will do. Will you create a fuss, or will you just say, you know what, just let it go. This is the norm. I don't mind. I don't mind waiting. I'll wait my turn. Let that brother or sister go and exchange the money and go. So you'll find lots of scenarios like this. So today really is about, and I'm going to go through a few slides. It's just really reset the mindset and really bridge the gap between the ideal that we may have and what the reality is on the ground, inshallah. Now, the golden rule, before I go to the 5 realities that we have in store for you. Now, the golden rule is the Hajj, what it does to people is that people generally become a little bit, and I'm generalizing, this doesn't apply to everyone, but quite a number of people do experience this. They get very hypersensitive about doing ibadah in a perfect way, which is not a bad thing at all. Now, they get very hypersensitive that they want to do everything literally in the way that our Prophet ﷺ did it, and everything has to be in accordance with the Sunnah. And because they're so hypersensitive, they get very much a tiny little mistake, a tiny little sway away from the Sunnah, almost angers them, almost like, subhanallah, why did I do this? Why did I not prepare? Why didn't the guy tell me that was the Sunnah and that was the exact way of doing things? You get the picture. Now, people sometimes get into that notion, and when they do, they may not display it, but that is playing in the back of their mind, that they want to have this perfect ibadah. They want to do things in a perfect way. But again, going back to the reality, that may not be the case. You may not experience it in that particular way. From the get-go, we go to the airport, we land in Jeddah, we may land in Medina, but let's use Jeddah as an example. We land in Jeddah. From Jeddah, we've seen in the previous years, it doesn't happen very often, but it can do, your luggage gets misplaced. Now, last year, the year before, 2024, to give you an example of a sister who had her luggage go missing from the time she went to our hotel. We can literally see that it's going around, doing the rounds in different hotels. People are sending us pictures, but we're unable to get it. She was unable to get the luggage whole throughout the journey. Luckily, she had her sister with her, and she was able to share and was able to buy the clothes. It's only when they got back to the UK that they located the luggage and they were able to bring the luggage back. But can you imagine the scenario and the stress that she had to go through? The luggages go missing. People get picked up. They're misplaced in the airport. We may be going to a particular hotel, but there may be other people there who have gone into the bus, but not necessarily going to the same hotel. Now, because they've been picked up, when they did the count, they've been missed, but they did the count exactly the right amount of people were in the bus, and the bus set off. And then halfway through the journey, we find out that actually there's about 4 or 5 people who are not going to this hotel, they're going to a different hotel. So the bus has to take a detour. Now, that will delay. You are stressed. You've come from a long journey. Last thing you want is to have another long journey from Jeddah to Mecca. All you want to do is get to your hotel, relax for a little while. You're still in your ihram. You want to do the umrah and come back to the hotel and come out of umrah. But these things happen. You could be on a Hajj journey. You could be on the days of Hajj. The roads are closed. The bus has to take a detour, and expect that there will be difficulty in every stage of Hajj. Just expect the worst. And it happens, and every scenario that I'm going to say to you, they're based on fact, and these things have actually happened. And at every stage of the journey, it will happen. So expect the worst, and then you'll have peace of mind. If you're expecting the worst, if something doesn't happen what you're expecting, then you're at peace. Always expect the worst. So that is the golden rule. Expect difficulty, and you will be at peace. Going into our first reality of Hajj, which is organization. Now, us living in the West, alhamdulillah, whether we think we're not or we believe we're not, we're humble, we're very practicing people, but the reality, the environment that we live in, the subtleties of that environment are slightly in us as well. We live in the West, we think we know everything. Although we may not show it, but sometimes in our expression, sometimes the way we speak, sometimes the way we behave, it comes out. May not be everyone, again, I'm generalizing. We tend to have this attitude, we live in the West, we're better than other people in the third world. We know how to do things. We know how to organize. How difficult is it to organize few people to get on the bus and go from destination A to destination B? It is very simple. We do this day in, day out in the West without any difficulty. Why is it that the people in the third world country can't do this simple task? Now, take a brief moment and appreciate the scale of Hajj. Can you imagine the amount of people from around the globe? And we're talking literally in millions of people around the globe that come to Hajj. Different personalities, different way of looking at reality. They have different customs. They have different cultures. They like different types of food. The way we think the norm is, their norm of the same reality is completely different. We may think that they are weird. They probably think the customs that we're following, we are the ones who are actually weird. And how do you come to terms with all this? How do you balance all this? And how do you make sure that you organize people from different parts of the world, and we're talking literally millions, into performing Hajj? They come and they perform Hajj, and then they leave. It is an enormous task. And the amana and the responsibility on the people who facilitate Hajj, and it's not just the people in Saudi, there's a huge global effort that goes into planning and preparing Hajj. It is not a simple a matter that we may think that we can do by living in the West. Now, Hajj logistic involves literally millions of people, and always things go wrong. Schedules are just guidelines. They're not guaranteed. There's always this thing in Hajj that a window, whenever we are moving from one destination to another, there's always a window of 4 to 5 hours. It may happen as the time that they said it will happen, or it may happen 4 hours later. So you could be on a journey, it could take 1 hour, or it could take 4 hours. And it's got nothing to do with organization. It is, you'll be so surprised that once we go beyond the layer of the chaos that we see, you will actually see that it is very organized, is very sophisticated, and is what we call organized chaos. Reality number two. Sorry, just another point on organization before I go into reality number two. Now, one of the things as us as human beings, we need to know what we're doing next. We need to know what are the next steps. Otherwise, we feel a little bit of anxiety. You personally, if you're going on a holiday or you're going somewhere or you're doing a task, you make a big list. You know exactly, you map out every stage of your journey. If you're going on a holiday, you map out how you're going to go to holiday. You ensure that you get picked up. You get picked up when you're on the other side. You have an itinerary. You make sure that if a visa is required, you get the visa. And you create a list and you do everything so that you know at each day of whatever you're doing or wherever you're going, you know exactly what you're doing. So, like Hajj, yes, there will be guides, and the guides will help you. There will be seminars, there will be webinars prior to going to Hajj, like this one, while you're in Hajj, will be guiding you. But the onus is also upon you. You need to prepare, you need to understand what each stage of the Hajj journey will be. Just get an idea of what you will be doing. And a good way to do that is to make sure that we attend the webinars and the seminars that the guides are preparing for you. So you get an idea of what to expect. And as you're going through the Hajj journey, you'll be going in different stages. You'll be doing different stuff. While you're in Mecca, you'll be doing Umrah, you'll be doing Tawaf. While you're in Medina, you'll be doing Ziyarah. While you're in Hajj, you'll be performing Hajj. So each stage or each destination, you'll be doing different types of stuff. So you should really be prepared. You should you should know at each of these different destinations what you'll be doing. And by you doing that, that will reduce some of the anxiety. It will avoid you getting frustrated and you getting angry because you know exactly what to expect to a lesser degree. Now, moving on to the next reality, which is the crowds. Now, this is unavoidable, absolutely unavoidable. There will be huge crowd. As I tell, there will be literally millions of people out there coming to perform Hajj. Although the Hajj ministry and Saudi Arabia has got very good at it, the numbers are almost restricted. They know the numbers of people coming to Hajj, but there's always the case that undocumented people come to Hajj. The neighboring countries, maybe they're able to cross the border quite easily, not so much as now, but in the past they were able to cross the borders quite easily. So you had an official figure and you also had an unofficial figure. So you'd combined literally 2 to 3 or even be 3 to 4 million people coming to Hajj. Now, the crowds can be quite frustrating, but at the same time, it's also a blessing as well because it gives you such a huge iman boost, knowing that this is the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you'll see people from different parts of the world, different colors, different shapes, speaking different languages in different culture, all coming to do the same thing. Nobody is arguing with anybody. Nobody is fighting with anybody, not intentionally anyway. Small bits here and there might happen, but generally nobody is doing that. They're all doing the same thing. They all have a common language, which is to worship Allah, and that is what they're doing. Now, what the crowd does is when you have a small journey that normally it takes 10 minutes, that journey could become 30 minutes, so it could be 40 minutes due to the crowds. The taxis, as we're getting more closer to Hajj, They may charge you at the beginning a certain price. Once you get to more closer to Hajj, because there's more crowds, there's more people, it takes them a lot longer to get to from your hotel to the Haram. If you're staying in Azizia, they may charge you a little bit more. You may get pushed, you may get stopped, you may get redirected. But one thing for sure, not everybody will behave the way you think or the way you perceive everyone should behave. So the crowd is another reality that we cannot get away from. Reality number 3, fatigue. Now, you will be physically drained. There is no way out of this. And then the other reality is that you will be walking a lot, regardless of where your hotel is. Even if your hotel is right in front of the Haram, by the time you get down to the lift, if you're praying the 5 salahs in the Haram, which you should, you'll be tired. Because by the time you come out of your hotel, go walk through the forecourt, go into the Haram, and back and forth 5 times a day, it takes a lot. If you look at the step counts, it will be huge amount of steps. So there will be a lot of walking involved. When you get to the times of Hajj, we'll be walking in Mina. We'll be standing in Arafah. There'll be times when we'll be sitting, but there will be a lot of times we'll be standing. We'll be sleeping almost in the rough area. If we arrive late into Muzdalifah, if we are picked, the way it's done is we pick lots, and if we happen to be picked third or fourth or fifth coach that will come take us to Muzdalifah, maybe the spaces will be full and we may have to sleep on rocks. Again, that will have an impact. One thing you can do, because the fatigue will kick in, the tiredness will kick in, is start preparing your body now. Start walking now. Start preparing. Start doing the distance that you will be walking in Hajj. For example, if you get off a station that is close to your house, get a couple of stations before and then walk home. Start doing 20 minutes walk, start doing 30 minutes, then progress to an hour. Because literally when you get to Hajj, you will be walking hours at minimum at any given time. So the advice that we can give you is start preparing now. Energy tablets. If there's a particular tablet that you like, the particular tablets that gives you energy while you're fatigued, bring them along with you. Take the advice from your guide. They have a lot of experience. They will be able to give you the timings and the schedules of what to do, when to do, and when is the best time to do it. One thing that you shouldn't do is overdo everything. You should pace yourself. Now, one of the things that some of the people tend to do is they tend to take a big shopping list. So, for example, if you are in Mecca, they get a big list of umrahs to do. They want to do umrah for their grandfather. They want to do umrah for their nan, for their brother, for their sister, or for this person who's not been able to come to Hajj. And they keep on doing umrahs one after another before Hajj. What that does is that drains your energy. When it comes to doing Hajj, and I've seen quite a lot of people who are not able to perform Hajj properly because they are drained of the energy. So what you want to do is pace yourself, and you don't want to overdo it with nafil ibadah. Now, reality number 4: delays are inevitable, and it happens almost at every station of Hajj that we go to. It doesn't matter whether we land, from the time we land, from the time we come back, every station that we move to, whether it be from Mecca to Medina, from Mecca to the Hajj, to Mina, from Mina to Arafah, Arafah to Muzdalifah, and then back to Mina again. It doesn't matter which route that we take or which station that we're in, there is always delays. Now, one thing to remember, Saudi Arabia is not the UK. and we should not think that it is. And we should not think that it follows certain rules or it does things in a certain way, because as you can imagine, and I explained, Hajj is for millions and millions of people. And any given time, number of things happen, number of things go wrong, and the biggest thing that it impacts is that you'll always be delayed. Always have that in your mind. It doesn't matter where you are, you'll always be delayed, and this is something really is unavoidable. Reality number 5. Now, this is a very this is again another reality that we have to live with while we're in Hajj, is the condition of where you will be and the types of hotels that you're going to stay. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or 1-star. There are certain realities in these hotels that we will experience. For example, you may have booked a double room. And once you get to a particular hotel, their idea of a double room is not necessarily to put 2 beds in a room. Their idea, it could be that they'll put you 2 people in that room, but there'll be 4 beds in that particular room. So you'll have your 2 bed, you'll have 2 people in that room, but you'll have 4 beds. Now you may complain that where am I going to put my luggage? They should come and remove the beds. If you're lucky, that they may come and remove the bed, and you'll have the 2 beds. But the expectation should be that in certain hotels or in some hotels that you will have, you may end up with 4 beds. Another thing that one particular brother had quite a bit of a problem with, and again, the way some of the hotels are designed is that either they're a double room or they're a triple room. So the beds fit exactly like it is in a triple room. Now, most of the time during Hajj, they make the rooms into a quad. So if it's already designed as a triple room, the next bed that they put in will be slightly smaller, not too much, but slightly smaller than the other beds. Now, again, you shouldn't get upset, and you should expect this, that you may end up in that small bed. Again, please, I'm just trying to mitigate certain expectation, and I've seen in the past that people get really, really angry and really upset, and that plays in their head. And what it does is that has a knock-on effect on how you do Hajj, because that expectation stays with you. And once you get to Mina, you're not going to be in any luxury. You're not going to have a double room or a triple room or a quad room. You're going to be in one bedroom with hundreds of people. And the only thing that's really maybe separating you is a piece of cardboard. And you'll be sleeping with hundreds of people in that room. So the expectation for you to have in the while you get there, the tents may have be basic from your expectation. It is not the case. The facilities are really good, and what you should really do is lower your expectation. Now, these are some of the 5 realities in Hajj that you will experience, regardless of which package, which provider, or a particular guide that you plan to go with. Now, one of the ways to mitigate this, to have a survival tips, is always stay with the group. Because if you don't stay with the group, you could there's potential chance of you getting lost. Everything that's in that everything that we do in Hajj, or everything your guide will designed to do, is to do with a group. If you go on your own, there are chances that you may not know what to do. You may not know how to perform the Hajj properly. You may get into a situation that where you need to ask a question, but nobody will be around. So it's always stay with the group. Be punctual, and this is quite important, because while we are moving, particularly during Hajj, Now, we may be given a slot for the bus to come and to take us to Mina. We are not the only ones in the hotel. There are lots of other groups and lots of other people who are also waiting to go to Mina. We may have been given a slot. For any reason we miss that slot, it will be given to somebody else, and we have to stay behind. Now, one way we could miss that slot and you could really spoil it for the group is, for example, we've been given a time slot and we've said, you know what, come downstairs into the hotel lobby in a particular time. You take your time, you packing your bags, you slowly come. But half the people are downstairs and we've been called to go into the bus. Now the bus is half empty. Most likely what they will say, please come out because your whole group is not here and we need to take a full bus. We can't take a half empty bus. You come out and let another group who are fully here and they can fill up the bus to take your slot and go. What that will do, it'll put us way back. We may have been waiting a couple of hours. What that means is that you held up the group and we may have to wait another 2 hours. So being punctual is very, very important. And also, communication is key. One of the ways one of the ways that the guides will communicate with you is perhaps that what they will do is they will create a WhatsApp group. That becomes the most easiest way of communicating. So you must always check your WhatsApp group because it's not always physically possible to go on every door in the hotel. It's not always possible to call everyone because sometimes people don't answer the phone. Sometimes the phones are switched off. So the responsibility is on you to check your whatever the message format that your guide chooses. Most likely it is WhatsApp to communicate with them clearly. Now, we do appreciate, and that's something that everybody needs to appreciate, that people understand things slightly differently. People need different types of communication, and we have to be a little bit patient in that. Now, we're doing a webinar, and we'll be explaining everything step by step, what you should do, what your expectations are, where we will be in a certain particular time. Some people will understand that very clearly, and for other people, it will just go literally over their head. What they need is for them to have a little bit of one-to-one session with their guide just to explain, because they didn't understand when you're doing the webinar. They didn't understand when you're explaining in a public forum. They just need you to explain it to them on a one-to-one basis. They need you to send a message clarifying them directly to their phone. If you are those type of people, then again, you should communicate that clearly with your guide so that the guide can be prepared to communicate with you the appropriate way, inshallah. So communication is really, really a key. Now, energy management, and we spoke a little bit about that. What we don't want to do is waste a lot of time and energy doing other than the fard acts. The priority should always be doing the fard acts. Now, once we've done the umrah, and I use umrah as an example, you may have a long list that you need to do. You need to do these nafal umrah on behalf of lots of people, which is, again, it's quite good. But what you don't want to do, that should not jeopardize your Hajj. That should not jeopardize the fard salah and the rewards that you're likely to get, that you're going to get if you perform in the haram. So what you don't want to do is overdo the optional acts. Now, emotional reality. Having said all this and everything that needs to be done in Hajj, and with all the people, the emotion, us feeling overwhelmed and getting emotional will be really, really high. And we need to really understand and learn to regulate our emotion. Now, if you do feel overwhelmed, if you do feel exhausted, it is not a bad thing. This is absolutely normal. If you didn't, then that would be abnormal. Feeling really emotional, feeling overwhelmed, feeling exhausted, feeling tired, and at times you could also feel anger as well because things don't go exactly how you planned. Again, this is normal. It's up to us how we regulate our emotion. Now, response to everything that I said, response to all the realities, response to how we may feel. Now, there is this triangle or the triage that we can do. If we are delayed, and will always be delayed, that's something that we need to get used to, that will always be delayed. This is and if that is the case, then it's a blessing, because we could use that time to really do dhikr. We could really use that time to make dua. And we could use that time to reset our intention. Think about the bigger picture. Think about why we are in Hajj. Think about the privilege that Allah has bestowed upon us. Amongst the thousands and the millions of Muslims around the world, we have had the privilege. Allah has given us the privilege to go to Hajj, and we should not waste it idly while we're waiting. We should either use that time to dhikr, to make dua, and always reset our intention and the purpose why we're in Hajj. Winning mindset, again, the three, have lots of patience. Lots of patience. You will need patience in every step of the journey. You'll need patience, and you've already experienced this with nusuk. The two sales period that we had, issues. The people had issues with their passport. People had issues with their photos. They were not getting verified. We were not able to get a package. We needed to stay patient for that. And alhamdulillah, those of us that we're here in this webinar, we've been successful, and Allah has really blessed us, and Allah has really favored us, and we should really be really grateful, and we should show shukr to Allah that He has honored us to be amongst His guests. And we always focus on the purpose of why you are going to Hajj. And a combination of those three, sabr, shukr, and focus, is the winning mindset, inshallah. Now, one of the ways you could is one of the ways to dealing with those realities is to reframe everything. Delays, as I said, if you're doing a lot of dhikr while you have the time, you're getting a lot of reward. The crowds, you see the crowds. Again, the crowd means delays. Crowd means different types of behavior. Lots of people doing different things. That is the ummah. That is the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hardship. You're going through hardship in Hajj. With hardship, you know that your levels are being elevated. Your status is being elevated with Allah, inshallah. Now, just the final message, brothers and sisters, before we open the floor for some questions, is that you're going to Hajj. You're not going for comfort, regardless if you booked a luxury package. Something will go wrong. Something will happen. You are not going for comfort. That is temporary. You're going for acceptance, and an accepted Hajj is Jannah, and that is eternity, and that is what we're going for, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, Jazakallah khair. I've been talking for almost 40 minutes. I will open the floor, inshallah, to take any calls. Sorry, just one more slide. Again, it's just reiterating what we've been saying in this webinar, is just to stay calm all throughout the journey, stay focused, and stay connected to Jalla wa Ala. So inshallah, I will open the floor, and in the panel, I'm also joined by brother Abul Hussein, who's got years and years of experience in Hajj, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And if you've got any questions, brothers and sisters, please raise your virtual hand, and inshallah, we'll try and answer your questions. Okay, we've got one virtual hand. Brother Yasin, would you like to unmute and ask your question, please?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I have a question. My hotel located in Al Aziziyah. So when we go to the Haram, let's say, it's better to go, let's say, from Asr to Isha, or it's gonna be hard to go 5 times to pray five, like Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr in Haram. So what can I do? So, Jazakallah khair.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Brother Yasin. That is a really good question. Brother Abul Hussein, I've talked for a while. I'm going to hand that over to you, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Said. Generally, obviously, we should try our best to pray all our salah in the haram. Now, if your hotel is located quite far away, um, your hotel still will be in the neighborhood of the haram. So it's still in the neighborhood of Makkah. And scholars do say the reward for salah in any of the masjid in the haram or in Makkah, you still get the 100,000 times reward. So inshallah, you won't miss out. But generally, praying in the haram is ideal, but closer to Hajj. We would say focus more on Hajj and pray your salah in the local masjid, and then just prepare mentally, physically for the days to come. Because Hajj, it does take it's very taxing actually because there's a lot walking, the heat, the weather, and the crowd and everything. So I would generally say prepare closer to Hajj. Praying your salah in your local masjid, and inshallah you still get the same reward as the haram, bismillah. Would you like to add anything, Sheikh Said?
No, Jazakallah khair for that. So Jazakallah khair for your question, Brother Yasin. The next virtual hand, which is the Jubair, if you want to unmute and ask your question, please. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother UK. I just have a quick
Salam.
question. So, for the person. So, can you remind people who are uncivilized, obviously regarding the action? So, for example, if someone jumps a queue and you say to him politely, "Look, brother, have patience," obviously without getting angry or hatred, having any hatred in your heart, is that okay? That would be my first question, and then, yeah, well, I'll answer the first question and I'll touch upon the second one after.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that question. I wouldn't use the word, brother, uncivilized. We have different norms in different parts of the world. And what we have to do is respect the different norms. We're used to certain custom, and maybe somebody else has come from another part of the world, and that is their custom, and that is something that is acceptable to them. And if somebody does that, then alhamdulillah, it's fine. Yes, you can indicate and say, brother, we're queuing up. If you could join the queue, and if they choose not to, then it's not a problem because we're in Hajj. We're accommodating. We shouldn't let something like that worry us. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. That's why I mentioned it. But we respect everybody's custom, inshallah.
Okay, definitely. I apologize for incorrect terminology there. And then the second final question was in terms of the 100,000 reward. So is that just in the Haram or is that in Makkah as well in general?
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that second part of the question. Brother Abul Hussein, you mentioned that. If you could elaborate on that a little bit more, please.
Yeah, so anyway, in Makkah, it's still the same reward, inshallah, as praying in the haram, bismillah. Obviously, the closer you are to the Imam, the more reward, inshallah. But generally, the 100,000 reward, inshallah, you will gain the reward of praying in any of the local masjid in Makkah. So you're still in the boundary of Makkah. So that you got the Haram and then the boundary of Makkah, the neighborhood of Makkah. You have so many other masjids as well. And there will be masjids, especially if your hotel's in the Azizia area. So Azizia, there's different sections in Makkah. So anywhere in Azizia and there's a local masjid, inshallah, bismillah, you'll still get the same reward of 100,000.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Bismillah. Thank
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question, brother. The next question is Abdul Rahman. If you'd like to unmute and ask a question.
I just have a question about staying together. Is there any chance to stay? I mean, do we have the same hotel as we are staying?
Sorry, brother,
Guidance?
you cut off a little bit. If you don't mind repeating that question again.
I just have a question. Since we do have like more chance of losing each other, do we have a chance to stay together? I mean, we staying in the same hotel with the guides, or how do you guys doing that? Thank you.
Okay. Yes. So if I understood the question correctly, will you be staying in the same hotel as your guide? Yes, inshallah. Inshallah, that the guide that will be accompanying you to Hajj will be with you all throughout the journey. Inshallah. They will be with you. Definitely, they will be with you during Hajj. You'll be with that guide. If for some reason your particular guide may be put together in another hotel, or they may stay in another hotel, that is a possibility, and it may happen. But you will have access to that guide. But majority of the times, the guide does stay with you, inshallah, in whichever package that you're in. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abdurrahman, for your question. If I can ask Arifur Rahman to unmute and ask the question, please. Arifur Rahman, if you'd like to unmute and ask the question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just want to make a little comment and then pose my question.
Sure.
Obviously, the whole concept is obviously a sacrifice, patience, sabr, and I think may Allah give us all the tawfiq to have that strong patience. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of things that not like the way we live our life in the UK or Europe. I think that's part of our journey, and I think the sooner we start that, I mean, probably as soon as we leave our house with that intention, inshallah, may Allah help us all. And on a second note, just briefly, so the brother was talking about praying in the haram area. So my question is, obviously during the Umrah time, I've seen a lot of people are actually praying just to make up the prayer or catch the prayer, fourth prayer. They pray on the street or pavement as soon as they enter the haram area. I mean, is it going to be accounted as the same as the praying in a haram sharif or a mosque within the vicinity? Jazakallah khairan.
Okay, Barakallah fi. I think Brother Abdul Hussein, you answered that question. So, brother, yes, inshallah, even if you're outside, you're joined by the rows with the masjid, inshallah. So you are going to be counted with that Jama'ah. So it's fine, inshallah.
I think what it said, like the question from the previous brother was saying, because his hotel is quite far away from the haram,
Okay.
should he go to the haram every day? What we're saying is closer to Hajj, ideally pray in your local masjid and prepare for Hajj. So you don't exhaust yourself just before going to Hajj, because Hajj will take 5 days. You're going to Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah, and then back to Mina again, and then the Ayyam in Tashriq, and it's going to exhaust you. So you want to stay as close and just kind of mentally, physically prepare for Hajj, closer to Hajj. Inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. Inshallah. It's very important that we pace ourselves. And what we don't want to do is, because of the 100,000 reward, we exhaust ourselves before Hajj. So what would be good is if you do a plan. So depending on what package you're in, it could be that you'll stay in Mecca for a certain period of time, could be after Hajj or could be before Hajj. If it's after Hajj, then alhamdulillah, that's really good. But even if it's before, you pace yourself, that you don't exhaust yourself before going to Hajj, because Hajj will take a lot of energy out of you, and what you don't want to do is feel weak or fell ill during that time. Inshallah. So we should always prioritize the fard and also prioritize the Hajj, inshallah. Okay, Jazakallah khair for that question. I will go to the next person. It says, yes, if you could unmute and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Um,
salam.
I just want to know about the women. So men, we understand it's better for them to go and pray in the masjid. Well, how about for women?
Do you mean in the haram, sister? Yeah. So in the
Yes.
masjid, what you'll find, whether it's in the haram or in the masjid close to your hotel, there's always a sister section. You'll always find a sister section. So, well, the men are going to the masjid. The women can also go to the masjid as well. And in the haram, what happens is that there'll be a particular area for the sisters, and there'll be a particular area for the brothers. Sometimes, especially in the haram, because of the huge number of people, that sometimes get mixed. But what generally tends to happen, if there is a group of sisters together, the men slightly go a bit further up or down and pray separate. So yes, during Hajj, go to the masjid and go to the haram and pray, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. The next virtual hand, Brother Dilwar, if you could unmute and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Two questions. One is, so my flight is from London to Jeddah, and it is close. So we'll be doing Hajj Tamattu. So when I wear my ihram here in London, should I make niyyah for Umrah or Hajj? Because the first thing I'll be doing is Umrah, correct, and then Hajj. And the
Right.
second question is, they say that it is sunnah to show your shoulder when you make an umrah. So is it only when I make the umrah tawaf, or also during the Hajj tawaf, which is tawaf al-ifada?
Okay, so Jazakallah khair, Brother Dilwar. That's a very good question. If I could ask you to hold your question for the next session. So what the next session, which will be delivered by Sheikh Saqib, he is going to go in detail of everything that you've asked. So he'll from a fiqh point of view, he'll tell you how to perform Umrah, and then he'll also go through how to perform Hajj. So if it's okay, if you can come to the next seminar, the next webinar, you'll get a very detailed answer, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question. The next person is the Jubair Ahmed. If you could unmute and ask your question. Oh, sorry, the Zishan, if you could unmute and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam.
You touched on illnesses that you might get ill. What are the most common illnesses people experience at Hajj, and is there anything that we should perhaps take extra precaution on whilst there, and maybe bring any medication to counteract it? What are the most common things people come down with?
Okay, Jazakallah khair. That's a good question. Brother Abul Hussein, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, so, I mean, the most common illness is, I would say, it's just a sore throat, coughing, Hajj cough. Some people obviously come up with temp and everything, but it's all just general viruses going around, and it can take up to 3 to 5 days for it to, depending on how serious it is. A lot of people take medicine from UK, so they're kind of prepared. And while they're in the Mataf area, they do have a mask and everything. Especially with the ACWI vaccine, that should help. So before going, make sure you get your vaccine done 10 days before traveling, which lasts for, I believe, 3 years or 5 years. So have the vaccine done and everything. But generally, it's a very mild. It's not nothing serious. So it's just common, illnesses like cough, sore throat, runny nose, things like that. Um, but you can avoid all of this if you just kind of pace yourself, like Seth Said said, pace yourself before Hajj. and then be prepared a few days before Hajj, mentally, physically, so you're kind of fully focused during the Hajj. Even Hajj will take up a lot of energy, especially on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. It's a Yawmul Eid for everyone. Yawmul Nahar is a day of sacrifice from Muzdalifah to Jamarat. It's a long walk. And then you're going to go to the Haram, do your Tawaf Sa'i again, and then come back to Mina. And that day is very exhausting. So you want to be prepared for that day, especially, and avoid, if you have anyone who's, sneezing, coughing, and everything, just kind of, be kind of mindful and have a mask on. If, especially in the Mataf area, you're doing Tawaf, if you're doing a lot of Tawaf, have a mask on, ideally. And then just where you find space, kind of try to like kind of pace yourself in those areas, and avoid anyone you feel like they're falling ill. But obviously it's not, you can't control it. If it does happen, inshallah you still manage. But yeah, I mean the vaccine and everything should kick in and everything, and you should be fine, bi ta'ala. But generally, I mean, from our group, we've seen, it's very mild, unless you have some sort of condition, a weak immune system, and then you kind of prepare with vitamin C and things like that. So you're kind of fully prepared, unless Sheikh Said want to add anything to this.
No, Jazakallah khair for that. The only thing that I would add is that the common thing that people experience while in Hajj because of the heat is the dehydration.
Yes,
So
yes.
and that leads to lots of other problems. People faint, and sometimes some people get hospitalized as well. So keeping hydrated is very important. And inshallah we'll go through this while we're out there, almost in every webinar that we do, or every seminar that we do, or every messages that we give. We always tell people that make sure that you are always hydrated and you don't go out at the peak of the sun. Only with necessity, you just go out, maybe just praying the salah and come back. So there will be advice like that, inshallah. And there'll also be medical advice. So the doctors will go through this in a bit more detail. And if you're coming to the live seminar this Sunday, we have an NHS medical doctor, inshallah, who will be giving advice on what to do and what to take during Hajj. And I'm sure this is one of the things that we mentioned today, he'll be covering as well in detail.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Yes, I mean, especially the Ayam in Tashriq, I think that's where a lot of people they want to follow the Sunnah, and they want to go straight after Dhuhr, but the sun is right at the peak.
Yeah.
And then the ministry will, they will advise everyone not to leave. Maybe we'll have to leave after Asr, and that's, well, they will regulate all of this, and they will say how severe the weather is, and but yeah, I mean, the guide will be there to, kind of go through all the logistics once you're in Hajj.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. That is really a good point that you touched upon. That people, and I was saying, people get really hypersensitive and they want to do things in the correct way, following the correct sunnah. So literally, somebody might take, after Zawal, go and do the stoning, and you go out after Zawal. As a group, the ministry will not allow you to go out purely because of the heat. Once the heat gets a little bit cooler, then we can go out as a group. But they don't necessarily stop the individuals. And sometimes when the individual go out, I have seen young people faint, and the effect of the heat is so severe. People don't realize how bad it is and how quickly they can get dehydrated. It doesn't matter how fit or how strong you are, that heat is really, really burning. And so you should always listen to the advice that your guide is giving you, inshallah. The next virtual hand, Brother Jubair Ahmed, if you could unmute and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum
Hello.
salam. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu. I've just got a small question. In regards going to Muzdalifah, you mentioned sometimes the amount of people who are going to be there, we might end up being sleeping on rocks. Shall I take a small mat with me to that place? And also, I've been reading the Ismail David's book, which is quite a long book, and he says to learn if there's to learn Tayammun. Is that a good idea as well? Because of there might be long queues for the wuzu area. And just one last question: will the hotels be will we be sharing the rooms according to our age group? Jazakallah. Thank you.
Hey, Jazakallah khair for that question. It's a very good question. Brother Abul Hussein, would you like to take this one?
Yeah, so for Muzdalifah, you won't need a mattress. The service provider will provide a sleeping bag and I think a small pillow. They'll probably provide that in Arafah or sometimes they leave it in Muzdalifah. So you won't need a mattress, inshallah, for that. With you mentioned about the room allocation, right? If it's going to be in age group, I mean, you'll have to put in a request. If you have any specific requirement and you want to be with certain people, you could put in a request with the guide, and they can, inshallah, make the arrangements for your room allocation. Those are the two questions, right?
Yep, and then the other one was the tayammum question.
Tayammum.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So, Sheikh Said mentioned with all the religious, I believe every Tuesdays we'll be having the spiritual side, the religious side, and every Thursday is the logistics. So if you just wait on Tuesdays, so Sakib can go through all of this. But we've done Hajj many years, and to be honest, not once I had to do tayammum. I done it with a bottle of water, just a fried, with small amount of water. Just make a hole and just did the fard of wudu, and alhamdulillah, I managed.
Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, salam. The book that you've said that you're reading by Ismail Davis is a very, very good, a very thorough book. It just prepares you, mashallah. It's a very good book. Alhamdulillah.
Yes, I've got through only the first 3 chapters so far. It's just when I finish work, I just get so tired, and I just have to find some time to get some time and read it. But I'm just wary about the time scale. It's Hajj is coming up quite thick and fast now, so I'll have to, there's quite a lot of things to prepare. So, inshallah,
Inshallah.
inshallah.
Inshallah, you'll be fine. Inshallah, regularly come to those to the Hajj series that we're doing. Inshallah, you'll be well informed.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah khair for your questions. Next, we've got 3 more virtual hands. Brother Abul Hussein, we'll take those and then we can close the session, inshallah. I may not be able to pronounce the name properly. It says Majdolin. If you could unmute and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Jazakumullahu khair for this webinar. Thank you so much. I after listening to all the talk, I got a little bit nervous. So it's just like a lot of questions have popped now into my brain. But the very first one is about Nia. So I've been like reading and listening to many talks. I don't know how to do Nia. Like, is there something I have to say between me and myself, or how to do it for Hajj? Also, when we go to Mina, as far as preparing for that and getting our stuff, like when we check out from the hotel, I mean from Mecca to Mina, are we gonna have to take all our belongings with us, or they stay there and we just go like with nothing, and we will be provided with stuff in Mina? And thank you so much.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for your question. So the first part of your question about Nia, what would be good, sister, is if you get in touch with us, or even whichever group that you're in, what we can do, we can link you up with one of our mashayikhs, and the mashayikhs can give you a really clarifying and a detailed answer that you need for the intention. But with regards to the second part of your question, which is what you need to take with you to Mina, is that the question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Brother Abul Hussein, would you like to take this one? And also, if you can clarify with the provider that we're with, Rawaf Mina, what will they be getting in Mina?
We are going to have a webinar on what to pack, right? So it will be coming up soon. You could also go onto our portal. There's a learning portal on what to pack. So it goes into detail of all the essentials that you need to pack. It's the Hajj and Umrah training.com, I believe. If we can share that link. It has all the information on there what to pack for Mina. Generally, you want to travel light in Mina, and the service providers do provide all the essential toiletries. So you just want to go there with as minimal clothing as possible. And if you do need to take medications with you, you need to just pack that, inshallah. But yeah, just a small amount of clothing for Mina. Toiletries will be provided by Rawaf. And even umbrellas, fans, soaps, and shampoos and things like that. They will provide all of this, inshallah. But ideally, I recommend just wait for our webinar on what to pack, and we will go through in detail exactly what to pack during the days of Hajj, and even before traveling, what to pack with you. And if you can go onto our website, you can go into the learning portal and you can see there is a session on there on packing packing for Hajj for Makkah, Medina, and while you're out there in Saudi, inshallah. But going back to the first question about intention, I believe you're probably saying about the intention for Umrah and Hajj. It's very you'll have to verbally say it, inshallah. So we'll go through all of this, inshallah ta'ala. It's not that difficult. There's nothing to worry about. It's really easy. It's just few words. I believe you speak Arabic anyway, so it'd be really easy to pronounce those intention, inshallah, in Arabic.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. And the next virtual hand, Yusuf Malik, if you could unmute and ask your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam, Abdullah.
Brother, my question, actually, I've got, three questions very shortly, probably. So first thing, I know probably it might be discussed in the webinars that's going to come, but are we going to be provided any map to basically kind of understand where actually is going to be our camp, and how long will it take for us to, for example, if we are walking towards the Jamarat, and how long will it take to Mina if, for instance, we miss the bus or something unusual happens. So that's one thing. The other thing is like the local, I've seen some metro trains over there. So let's say somebody kind of missed the bus. Are there metro trains available for the locals as well, or is it kind of grouply booked? And thirdly, during our Makkah stay, I know brother were asking a lot of questions about whether we can pray in Azizia or do we have to go to the Makkah, the Haram. And as brother explained, that we can still pray within the local mosque, and it will still be the same. But I was kind of under the impression that the shuttle services is going to be provided. Can you please explain whether that's going to be provided or not? Thank you, brother.
Okay. So for your first question, sorry, the one that I can remember is whether you can use the shuttle service. Now, sorry, the first question. Yes, I remember now, with the location and what to do during Hajj, and also do you need to take a mat, and also if you miss the bus. The thing is, as we get closer to Hajj, what your guide will do is in your hotel, or even just before we're going to do the Hajj rites, they will go through everything with you. They will go through everything with you in detail, and explain where we need to be, and what time and when. And also, they will break down things for you. So inshallah, everything will be broken down. You don't necessarily need a map, because you'll be part of the group, and all of us will be doing the same thing. And with Rawaf Mina, most of us, generally all of us, will be together in Mina. So we'll be going to the same destinations, and we'll be doing everything together. But your guide will, inshallah, as we get more closer to Hajj, will break things down for you. Now, if you miss a bus, again, for whatever reason, you shouldn't. You'd be given plenty of warning to come down, and get the bus to go to your particular destination. Now, for example, let's use the example of you're in a hotel in Mecca, and from there we are going to take you to Mina. If you miss your bus, it's not the end of the world. That means you're not going to go with your group. What it will mean that you'll catch the next bus. All it will mean is that you will be delayed. It could be that they take another group, and that group is packed up. Because you missed your spot, they may push you right to the back. So it may be that you'll get to Mina, but it'll be a lot later than if you did go with your group. But eventually, inshallah, everyone will be taken to Mina. So I wouldn't worry about that. With regards to praying in Azizia, I believe Brother Abul Hussein answered that yes, you can pray in Azizia. There are lots of masajids near your hotel, so you can pray in any of the in the masajids near your hotel, so you can pray in any of the masajids there. With regards to the shuttle service, so every hotel, say for example, you're staying in your package, you're staying in Azizia, there will be a shuttle service to the Haram. Usually every hour, and the details are given at the hotel. Generally, at every hour or every before Salah time, they take you to the Haram and they bring you back. The only time that mechanism stops or it breaks down is once we get to the more closer we get to the times of Hajj. So, for example, Hajj could be 2 days away, it could be 1 day away. At that time, what happens is the police close all the roads. They make a large area, a pedestrian area, so they close everything off. So the shuttle service can't actually go through. And that's when, usually a couple of days or 3-4 days before Hajj, you're not able to go directly using the shuttle service. What you can do if you want to go to the Haram is you can catch a taxi, and it will take you there, and you can come back with a taxi.
Jazakallah khair, brother. Well explained. Thank you very much, brother.
Jazakallah khair. One more question, and then we will close the session, inshallah. Brother Mahbub, if you could unmute and ask your question, please. Mahbub, you could unmute, ask the question. Okay, not a problem. There are no more virtual hands. Brother Abul Hussein, would you like to add anything, or maybe give details of the live seminar that we're having on Sunday? What should people do? How should they join? What time should they come to the seminar? Please, if you could.
Yes, so this Sunday, 2 p.m. at the Atrium venue, we have our seminar. It's off Valence Road, Cheshire Street, London, E26EJ. I believe the nearest train station for Central Line would be Bethnal Green, and District Line will be Whitechapel, right? Unfortunately, the parking, I'm not sure about the parking side, but how's the parking there? If they're driving down until 2:30, right? After 2:30, is it free?
Yes, so after 2 it is free. But the way the Bethnal Green is, one side is free, and the other one side is you can park anytime, and one side is restricted between up until 2 o'clock. So the other side of Valence Road it's fine, and one side is not, purely because of the market. So what brothers and sisters should do, just look at the restriction while you're parking, because one side of the hall, you're perfectly fine, you can park, and the other side, the restrictions are on until 2 p.m.
Yeah, it's the same hall we're using last year, so I believe we've got there is a map where they can park at a certain time, right? So after 2 it should be free.
To be free, yes.
And because of the market, I think there is extra time in they'll have to keep an eye on. But yeah, so it's happening this Sunday, starting at 2, inshallah. And we should finish by 5. And if it does overrun, depending on the situation, if it does, then most likely by 6 max we should finish, inshallah. So we're hoping everyone to attend. So a lot of shuyukhs are coming down. You'll meet your guides there as well, and the CEO of Rawaf Mina is coming to introduce himself, and he'll go through a lot of important information that you would need, inshallah. So please, everyone, try to make time to come down um, on that day. And in terms of, I believe, sorry, Said, but we didn't mention about the Hadi, did we?
No,
I
we
just
didn't. So
remembered.
if you could mention about the Hadi, please. Yes.
Thought it was okay. Yes. So, brothers and sisters, about the Hadi as well. So it's very important you arrange your Hadi. So we also provide the Hadi service. So some of you may have probably booked with the Nusuk system. And if for those who haven't booked their Hadi, we will share a link in our group. So whichever WhatsApp group you're in, we'll share a link, inshallah. And then you can purchase your Hadi through the link, inshallah. So the link will be shared in your WhatsApp group. So please keep an eye out. The Hadi costs around £175 per person. So whoever's doing, Hajj Tamattu, you should know which Hajj you're doing. Please make arrangements for your Hadi. It's around £175. And you will be, inshallah, in another Hadi WhatsApp group, and you'll get the notification. Ideally, what we want you to do is book the Hadi with your through these links, because your guide are going to be there on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. And once you've done your stoning and everything, the guide, will make you aware your Hadi is completed. Now you can, shave your hair, come out of your haram, and then head to the haram and do your tawaf ifada, inshallah. So ideally, book your Hadi from now before leaving Hajj, inshallah. And you can make the arrangements with your guide as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Brother Abul Hussein, for this. Brothers and sisters, it's almost coming up to 10 o'clock. We will close the session, inshallah. As Brother Abul Hussein said, we hope to see you on Sunday in the live web seminar, inshallah. So we're going to close the session. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته